Once Sri Lanka stood amongst the titans of world cricket, from the 1996 triumph to the golden generation of Sangha, Murli and Jayawardene, we were a force to be reckoned with. But time has not been kind to us. Those legends feel distant now, and the world sees us as a shadow of our former self. This changes now. We will rebuild Sri Lanka, no matter how long it takes. The lion shall roar once more. But it will not be easy. We're literally 2 stars with the ball and 1.5 stars with the bat. So we're pretty much the worst team on this entire list. We're worse than Ireland. I guess you could say that there's some comparison to be had with Afghanistan, 3.5 total stars for each team. So this is not the best place to start.
It will be a challenge, but that's just what makes the comeback all the more spectacular. Right now, Sri Lanka cricket's in shambles, and this is where our rebuild begins. Step by step, brick by brick, we'll take this team from the bottom back to the top. It won't be easy, but if we get it right, it'll be one hell of a journey.
So the goals of this series are quite simple. So for one thing, we want to reach the top ranking in all 3 formats of the game. We want to win Test series away against all cricketing nations, and we want to win the World Test Championship. In terms of ODIs, we want to win the ODI World Cup and of course the T20 World Cup as well. So it'll be a steep climb, but let's see how we can do. So our first challenge will be a two-match series against Bangladesh. They are the higher rated side, but compared to how bad this could be, I think this is a team we have a chance of beating. Okay, so these are the players that I've shortlisted for the squad against Bangladesh. So the first player, Patum Nasanka, he started off his career beautifully, 500 runs in 7 games. But the thing that I really like about him is if you look at his first class record, average of 64, and in second team cricket, he also averages close to 80. So at the age of 23, he's someone who we're looking at as a bulwark for our squad in the coming years if we are to achieve our goals. Then, of course, the experienced campaigner, Angelo Matthews. So he averages 45 in Test cricket. Just a solid stalwart of the Sri Lankan side. Then we have Kusal Mendes. Nothing exceptional about his batting stats, but he can keep, and he brings a slightly more aggressive frame of mind into this side. And then you have Karunaratne, average close to 40, 47 in test, 47 in first class, and he opens the batting, so he's a solid choice. Another guy we went with was this Madhu Wanta. So he may not get a game. He's just 24 years old. He also has an incredibly high second 11 average of close to 80. So we've selected him. He might not get a game just this tour, but he is definitely one for the future. Um, Niroshan Dickwella, sort of a backup player. Chandy Mal, kind of possibly past his prime. Oh no, he is 32. I assumed he'd be older than that, so maybe he is someone who we look at. Another youngster who we are sort of thinking about is Banuka. So he coming towards the prime of his career at 27, hopefully, and he has decent first class stats. So we're looking at taking him along. Then you come into the all-rounders. You have Dhananjaya De Silva, who offers a bit of handy part-time off spin and some decent batting stats. And then we are thinking of Kamundu Mendes. So watching this in 2025, you obviously know about the start to Test cricket he's had in real life. In this game, he averages 67 in first-class cricket and hasn't got a Test just yet. So we can try and bring him in. It says he's an all-rounder, but I am not too sure about his bowling. But he could be a bit handy. And then Asalanka, not really a test player, first class average of 28. So I probably won't take him along with us to Bangladesh. Then the bowlers, Fernando, we were looking at maybe giving him an opportunity. He does provide a bit with a bat and a first class average of 25 and bowling average also of 25. So um, he's one option. Dhananjaya, test average of 24 so far. This is probably one of the more promising bowlers. He averages 23 in first class cricket, but had an exceptional start to Test match cricket with an average of 19. So he's probably one of our star spinners. And then you have this guy. He averages 27, so another decent option. And then you have a few pacers. Madashenka, everyone knows him from his World Cup performances. He's just 21, so he could be someone to watch in the future. So if I have to choose someone from here not to take, it'll probably be Dhananjaya, I think. So yeah, that's the 18 who will travel to Bangladesh. Slightly new look Sri Lankan side for this first test against Bangladesh. So we've kept the experience of Karunaratne and De Silva, who've been fairly decent quality performers for us at the top of the order. And then we've got the experience of Matthews and Chandimal down the order. But we have three youngsters who are going to be fulfilling roles in the top five. So we have Batu Nisanka, who's already started his test career, averaging close to 45 so far, and then Kamindu Mendes and P. Madhuanta. So, currently we saw that this team is 1.5 stars with the bat, so it seems that we're going to need to bring in these young talented players and see what we can make of them if we are to have any hope of achieving our goals. And then with the bowling, it's less different. We've got one new player in Fernando. He's got a decent first class record and a very good second 11 average of 16. Um, and then we've gone with some fairly standard names. So if we look at the second 11 stats of this side, or sorry, this is T20, but if we look at the second 11 stats of this side, we see that the bowling attack is all really good and got a lot of young talented batters. And then most of these players, it has transferred quite well into the first class circuit. So these bowlers all averaging in the 20s. And then Kaminda Mendes averaging 67 so far in first class cricket. Nasanka 64. And Madhuanta not as good, 45, but still possible. So this seems like a decent team to go with for a pitch that is already turning quite a bit on the first day of the test at Bangladesh. This is a very young side. We have a 23-year-old, a 24-year-old over here, another 23-year-old, and a bowling attack all in our 20s. So hopefully this is something that we can grow over the next few years and try and achieve some of those test match goals that we have set. Also a few debutants. If you look at their test stats, three people who are going to be playing their first ever test match, and then 7 tests for him, and 7 tests between these two bowlers, 15 tests for him. So a lot of inexperience. So not expecting anything right away, but hopefully this can be some talented players that we mold into another great Sri Lankan side. So we won the toss, and given how these conditions are likely to deteriorate, when I do not want to be batting in the fourth innings, so we're just gonna have a bat first. We're at lunch on the first day, and Karunik Rutnik got out early, but the other two seemed quite naturally aggressive, so I just lent into that, and we're 137 for the loss of 1 wicket, and it's looking quite good, especially given the conditions. So we scored 338 in the first innings. Nasanka and De Silva put on a really good partnership for the third wicket, or for the second wicket. Both of them were really aggressive, so they were just really taking the attack to our Rahim, who was going for sevens or eights at one point. Um, but once the two of them got out in quick succession, our middle order didn't have the same kind of ability to make shots as they did. So you could see here with his strike rate of 25 and his strike rate of 40, they weren't as aggressive. Chandamal was slightly more aggressive, so we had contributions throughout. Um, and I think this is a decent score. Maybe we'll need to rejig the batting order slightly so that we don't have the two hyper aggressive batsmen batting together and then a couple of defensive guys all in a row. Yeah, so we built them out for 292. They were able to score quite freely throughout, especially against the spinners, despite it being a turning wicket. Ambledonaya was able to get 5 wickets, but he was being scored off quite freely throughout. And I think in particular, their last wicket partnership of close to 30 to 40 runs was quite frustrating. Their number 11 was able to block out one end while Yasir Ali scored quite a few runs and really piled on the pain. But still, we take a lead of 50 runs, and I think we are quite comfortably ahead in this match. Yeah, so we had a pretty good innings here. We scored 381 runs. Nasanka looks like a wonderful player at this level. He scored a century here, and he already had some good stats coming into this game, so 123. Kaminda Mendes looked like he was able to play some shots once he got in, so he started off really slow, as you can see here. But once he sort of got set, he was able to play a decent strike rate. So I had some concerns looking at his first innings that he isn't able to correctable in this game in a way that allows you to score runs at the test level. But that's put that slightly more to ease. And Maduanta was sort of struggling a little bit to score runs, but it's just been 2 innings, so we'll see how he goes. Chandamal, I pushed him up the order a little bit to try and get some impetus into the innings. Wasn't that great, and Matthews was batted really well with Fernando, sort of paying them back in style with what they did with their last wicket partnership to give us a really handy lead of 427 runs. We have over 4 sessions to dismiss them. Here we go. Yep, and we finished them off for 207, win by 220 runs. We were hunting through for wickets throughout, so Tamim Iqbal's 91 didn't really phase us. We shredded through their account. Everyone picked up wickets. De Silva got 3 for 15, but that's mostly wickets at the tail end. Everyone chipped in, and that's a nice victory to start our campaign. It does look like the conditions might be slightly more preferable to seamers this time. There isn't much wear in this pitch to start off with, but it does become degrade quite quickly here in Bangladesh. And the entire day four looks like it'll either be rained out or it'll be really good conditions for the swing bowlers. But I am going to go with the same side. Um, and I mean, we won by 220 last time, so let's see what happens. We've won the toss again, and it's just a simple bat first, really. So we've been rolled for 234. Kurnik Rutne got out fairly early again, and we did have another partnership between De Silva and the Sanka. That seems to be a theme so far. But then after that, Mendes never really looked fluent, and after that we kind of just got blown away. It was mostly Islam who caused that collapse in the middle overs or middle order to really punish us. Yeah, so they've really punished us here. Their opening partnership was incredible. Tamim Iqbal came out swinging, smashed us for 75 of 94. And I thought we were in with a bit of hope once we got 4 quick wickets there after that. But Hussein came in and he continued where Iqbal left off, aggressive from the start. And him and Hassan, who was kind of slower than the other two, really put on a big partnership there. And once we dismissed them, we were able to polish off the tail fairly quickly, but they have put on a massive score of 422 and now lead by 188 runs. Um, Jarek Warma took 7 for 120, but you can see from the economy, he was not having the best of days for most of that innings. So now I think we will need to bat really big here to get a score that we have some chance of defending. We also do have the fact that it is predicted to have a washout on day four, so we might have some chance of securing a draw. Um, yeah, if we do draw this game, the series is tied one is or if we do draw this game, we win the series 1-0, and we take off Bangladesh as one of the countries to beat away. One of our goals was to beat all the teams away, and that would be a good start to that mission. The very end of day two at the moment, and there are 3 days left in this game. Day four might be a washout, so in that case, we have 2 days of actual cricket. Um, if we score 400, bat 4 sessions, we can potentially make it difficult for Sri Lanka to win on time. But no matter how you slice it, we're going to need to bat well here. Yep, it was not to be. We've been bowled out for 249. Not really a whole lot to like about that innings. Kamindo Mendes makes his first 50 at the test level, and Matthews kind of contributes as well. But really, we've been bowled out for less than 250. Sri Lanka needs 62 to win. It is seeming conditions for today, so maybe they have a unreal collapse, but I do not think that's too likely. Rahman, who's been their weaker link throughout the series, takes 6 for, but yeah, not the best performance from us. I mean, we were able to take 3 wickets, so that is something. Bangladesh win by 7 wickets. Pretty much to be expected after that massive score of 422. We were never really in this game, so the series is drawn 1-1, and we do not get off to that dream start of winning our first Test series of this, um, the first series of this playthrough. So just looking at how our players performed through that series, we just had the one set of players play throughout. Matthews was unbeaten quite a few times, made 172 runs at an average of 86, so that was pretty good. Nasanka looked really good at the top of the order. Mendes had a few starts, wasn't really able to convert it into anything, but a decent start to his career all told. And Maduanta, probably a series to forget on debut. Um, wasn't really ever able to score freely, struck at just 31 through the series and averaged less than that. In terms of bowling, Jai Wickrama was the standout performer, average under 20. The others were less good. Fernando actually I think looked better than this for the most part, averaged 38, but I think he looked better for most of the series. Fernando really was not up to scratch, and Ambuldaya was able to, I think, be a handy spinner, if not incredibly good. De Silva chipped in a little bit, but most of these wickets were against the tail.
So we start off the rebuild with a mixed result against Bangladesh, one win and one loss. It's not exactly a statement, but it is at least a foundation to build upon. I think that there are a lot of strengths in our side. I think our batting lineup is actually really strong. We have a few solid, experienced hands, Chandimal, Matthews, and Karunaratne, even though he didn't have the best of series. And I think we do have a lot of exciting players, particularly Kamindu, Mendes, and Nisanka. I think our bowling is probably where I see that we might need to experiment and play around a bit in order to find the winning combination. Jaya Wickrama was really good in that series, but we didn't really have a quality second spinner, and then our pace attack obviously was really not up to scratch. Playing at Sri Lanka, you might expect a little bit of that with the pace attack, but I really hope that we can at least find some quality spinners, and that might be sort of the route we go down with Sri Lanka. Next up, we have a really challenging series against Australia. We're going to take them on some T20s, 5 one-day internationals before a couple of test matches. Going up against the best in the world, not exactly expecting to win, but it'll be a great test for our players, and um, hopefully we can cause an upset there. Either way, the road to redemption will continue in the next episode.